This material is made available to you by or on behalf of the University of Melbourne under Section 113P of the Copyright Act 1968. It may be subject to copyright. For more information, visit the University Copyright website.
Okay, everybody, we're actually going to get started now. If you're just walking in at the back, can I ask you to find a seat quickly? There's plenty of room in those back rows. Thank you all for coming and welcome to the University of Melbourne, to the Faculty of Business and Economics and to the Bachelor of Commerce. I want to start by acknowledging the Wurundjeri peoples of the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners of the land on which the University of Melbourne stands, and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Up on the screen we have an overview of what's going to happen in this session today and later in the day. My name's Shane Morley. I'm the Academic Programs Manager in the Faculty of Business and Economics, and I work with a team of staff who do a whole lot of things behind the scenes that you probably won't know much about at the moment, but we do things like publish the handbook and we work on the exam timetable and all those kind of administrative things in the background. Firstly, you're going to meet the Deputy Dean, Professor Paul Jensen, who's going to officially welcome you on behalf of the faculty to the university. We have a speaker from the alumni part of the university, Rabina Boulot, who will be here later. We're going to talk about your first year in the Bachelor of Commerce. Most of you in the room today, I imagine, are actually straight out of secondary school, so university is actually going to be quite different for you. So we want to talk you through what will happen in your first year, and we'll do that by introducing some of the key staff who teach in the compulsory first year subjects that you're all going to be doing. We have a person coming from the library who will tell you all about the facilities and the services they offer in the library. And we have someone from Stop One who will come and talk to you about the services they are responsible for here at the university. I'm sure most of you will have interacted with Stop One already in some capacity, and as you progress through your course, you'll be meeting and talking to people over there quite a bit, I imagine. We've got a real-life current BCom student with us today as well, who will be talking to you about some of the employability and enrichment opportunities that we offer in the Faculty of Business and Economics, and giving you some insight into her experience as a Bachelor of Commerce student. After we wind up in this session today, back over in the Spot building is a big expo. All our clubs and societies will be there. This faculty is known for having a really strong club culture. We have clubs based on the disciplines that you'll be studying, so accounting, economics, finance, for example. We have the Commerce Student Society, which you'll all be members of. And we have other clubs as well based on sporting activities or cultural activities. So there's a huge expo over in the ground floor of the Spot and the FBE buildings, as well as some lunch we'll be giving you. Host program tours of the campus. If you have signed up for these, I hope you have, you'll get a tour of the campus and find out hopefully where all your classes are happening. And the University of Melbourne Student Union have their Summerfest Carnival on campus as well. If you are coming to the Commerce Engineering Pathway sessions later in the day, that's at 3 o'clock, just letting you know that the venue for that session has moved. It's now going to take place in the Copeland Theatre, which is a much bigger space. So if you haven't registered and you're interested in anything to do with engineering after you do your Bachelor of Commerce, I'd encourage you to go to that. And then on Thursday, the Getting Ready to Study Commerce sessions, which are actually going to be really useful. As I said, for most of you coming straight out of high school, university can be a really different experience. So these sessions are specifically geared to getting your head around what it is to be a student at the University of Melbourne. So a pretty full program today. Don't worry about taking notes or taking photos of the screens. We're actually filming these sessions. We're going to put them up on the website a bit later. Okay, I'm going to hand over now to Professor Paul Jensen, who is Deputy Dean of Faculty of Business and Economics, and he's also the Bachelor of Commerce Program Director. Paul.
Thanks, Shane, and welcome everybody. Welcome to the University of Melbourne. It's a delight to have you all here, and congratulations on making it successfully through high school and into a prestigious degree at a prestigious institution like the University of Melbourne. I know that it's an enormous amount of effort goes into studying at school and doing so well in your exams, and you should all be extremely proud of the fact that you've made it here. So I do remember many years ago when I finished school and made it to the University of Sydney to study economics, and I remember just how excited I was and a little bit apprehensive and nervous as well, I have to say. So I imagine that many of you are going through similar experiences now where, it is an exciting time, but it's also a little bit scary for you because you don't know what the expectations are going to be at university. You may or may not have many friends that have come from school to university. And so it's a great opportunity for you to both learn but also to make lots of new friends as well. So I wanted to give you a little bit of an idea, just an overview of some of the things that may be the same between the way you study at school and university, but also some of those things that may in fact be quite different. So one of the big areas of difference will be that many of you in school will be used to an environment where the expectations around the information you need to study and learn are handed to you on a plate. That's not the way university lecturers work or behave. We expect you to take a more proactive stance. So at school, you may have been more reactive, where teachers give you the information, you go home at night, you study, you prepare for examinations, and then you come back and tell us what you've learned. But in university, it's actually more of the onus is going to be on you to do the digging around. We'll give you the frameworks, we'll give you the models, we'll give you the ideas, but it's going to be up to you to go out and do your own work. And for you to manage your own time in preparing assessments and doing all of the work that's required to study for examinations. So you won't have someone coming and telling you, don't forget you need to do this by next week. The onus is really going to be on you to manage all of that. So some things you can do in order to help you in this new environment. Do be very proactive. Do ask your tutors, do ask your lecturers and professors questions if you don't know what they're talking about. Obviously, some of the material you're going to be engaging with in the next few years is going to be very challenging for you. We're trying to challenge you and push you to your limits of knowledge. But it is okay for you to ask us what we mean by something. So don't be afraid to say, oh, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. I think the logic, you meant this, but I just wanted to clarify and see whether I was correct or not. We don't expect you to know everything. That's why you're here. So don't be afraid to do that. And that can also mean asking that of your friends as well. If you do form study groups, if you do get together in teams and work on specific projects or assessments, as many of you will be required to do, it's okay to ask each other how to understand this particular theory or this particular insight. I would also encourage all of you not to leave things to the last minute. There are many of you who will have tried to just cram for your high school exams at the very last minute. That's something that typically isn't particularly successful at university. The material that you'll be working through in some of the subjects is quite complex, it is quite difficult, and you'll need to work at it week in, week out during the course of semester rather than leave it till the last minute. So start working on your assessments early, find out exactly what's required of you when, and make sure you program the semester to achieve and maximise your learning outcomes, but also your exam outcomes. Yeah, look, I think it's really important too to make sure you attend all of the tutorials and lectures. For many of them, they're not compulsory. You can do things online, you can learn from friends. Clearly, we don't check the roster or the roll for the roll call for big groups like this. It's impossible for us to do. But we do expect that you're going to have better outcomes the more engaged with the lectures, the tutorials, and the material that you are. So please attend. I wanted to also just remind everyone that some of the things that are different at university relate to our expectations around academic writing. So you may have come from an environment where it was okay to read a book chapter or read material from somewhere in a magazine and take much of that material and incorporate it into an essay and call it your own. At university, that sort of practice is not okay. It's okay to use other material. We're all trying to stand on the shoulders of giants, of those people who have the learned scholars from the past. It's great to read that material, but you must reference it and cite it appropriately. Don't think it's okay just to take pre-existing material from books or from magazines or from anywhere else, journal articles, copy and paste it into an essay and call it your own work. It's simply not okay. There are lots of protocols and procedures that we can alert you to which will help you understand what those conventions are, to make sure that you don't get to the point where halfway through the semester you get in trouble for plagiarism, where you have copied from someone else without appropriate referencing. Learn what those protocols are. Be proactive, make sure you understand them. Don't come to us later on and say, I didn't know that was the convention, can you please forgive me? We have very high academic expectations here at the University of Melbourne. That's why we're a world-class research and learning institution. And we expect you to all uphold the same standards that we have. Okay, another really important part of life at the university is respect. It's everybody's right and everybody's responsibility, and that all members of the university, regardless of whether you're a student, a professional staff member or an academic staff member, you have the right to enjoy a safe, diverse and inclusive environment. The university takes it extremely seriously, that means you have the right to feel safe and supported, to be valued for who you are, and to have divergent political or religious views. Regardless of any of those things, the university is a safe environment for you. We do not tolerate bullying, harassment, discrimination of any type, whether it be sexual, racial or religious. These principles are sacrosanct to us, and the university, from its highest ranks, from the Vice-Chancellor down, take it very seriously. Make sure you understand what that social contract between the university and the student body is around the way you must respect others. So it's your responsibility to make sure you understand what the student conduct policy is, and to make sure you understand what that student charter is, because it is a social contract that we sign into, or that you sign into when you come onto campus. And we will enforce that code of conduct very, very carefully. So please make sure you do understand all those things, and you do treat everyone with great respect. Finally, I just wanted to let everyone know that, I mentioned at the start that, coming to university is a very exciting time in your life, but it's a bit of a scary time. You may be coming from an environment where you had, a strong network of friends, some of who came to the University of Melbourne and others who have scattered all around to other institutions. So you may feel at times a bit socially isolated. That can happen and does happen to many people. It's okay to acknowledge that that does occur for you, but it's also very important to know that there's lots of people out there who might be feeling similar things, and there's lots of support mechanisms at the university which will help you try and get through that. So there are clubs, there are societies, there are events, there are functions, there are networking events. There's all manner of things that are designed to try and help you meet other people, to try and get out and to break down any of those barriers that you might be feeling. And the university has lots of other programs that are designed to help with your health and your well-being. And that could be related to seeing a doctor. We have a medical practice on campus that you can go and visit. There are all sorts of programs designed to help with meditation and with mindfulness training, so that if you do feel like you're feeling a bit stressed or a bit anxious or even a bit depressed because exams haven't been going as well as you'd hoped, maybe there's some financial pressure you're feeling because you're having to work jobs in order to survive. If those things do occur for you, there are lots of support mechanisms on campus. And it's really important that you understand what they are and where they can be found so that you can access them if you do need them. We do, for example, have mechanisms at the university called special consideration. If something happens in your life which is particularly traumatic or difficult, sometimes people have illnesses themselves, or they have family members who have illnesses and they need to take some time away from studying the books. Those things do happen. We have mechanisms in place to make sure that that doesn't disadvantage you. And that mechanism is called special consideration. But you need to tell us those circumstances that have occurred and how they've affected your ability to study, and we'll then consider those, and if we need to, give you another exam that might be at a later date. So those mechanisms, again, are up to you. We don't come round saying, how's everything going with your family? Is your health okay? Do you need a break from study? Those things are really on you to make sure you manage. You can get forms, you can find out the policies, and you submit them to the university, and we'll then make an assessment about whether you deserve another chance at an exam, so a special consideration. Lots of information up there about services and programs and opportunities there that are there to help your health and well-being and support your health and well-being as you go through your studies. That's all from me, so thank you very much, everyone. Best of luck in your studies, and I'll see you around. Thank you. Back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Paul. And just find my next slide. Okay. I'm going to introduce you to another staff member from Business and Economics, and she'll be talking to you about alumni and the alumni community that you're all just joining. Can I introduce Rabina Boulot?
Thank you, Shane. And as Shane said, I work in the alumni relations team at the faculty, and it's such a pleasure to welcome you to your first day of the Bachelor of Commerce. About 20 years ago, I was an international student moving to Melbourne for the very first time. The days of no internet, no Skype, no WhatsApp. I had $50 phone cards and had to keep in touch with my family that way. Probably got about 5 minutes of calls through that. So I know how daunting this experience is for you, but I'm about to tell you about this amazing community that has been in your shoes before and will be in your shoes in the future and really is part of your family here at the university. So what are alumni? Now, you're all now officially alumni of your high schools, and many of them might try to keep in touch with you, and I'm sure they'll be fascinated to hear about your journey in years to come. But here at the university, this is really your first day on what is a lifelong alumni journey we hope that you'll find really enriching and supportive. Many of you might not know that the word alumni really comes from the Latin word to nourish. So we hope that alumni that you encounter really present that opportunity for you. This is an overwhelming time. There's so many opportunities. You might not actually know what to focus on, what to commit to. It feels like 3 years is a long time, but there'll be a lot for you to do in this time. And so I would like to encourage you to just remember that even though alumni don't sit in and around you at theatres, that they're out there and there are some ways for you to get in touch with them. Because you're in great company. Some people here, and there's only 6 out of about 380,000 of them, but I thought, you might recognize some of these brands out there, and Paul mentioned in his welcome, this is a great city to be in Melbourne. So we're very proud to say that the current Lord Mayor, Sally Capp, is an alumna of this university and the Bachelor of Commerce, as well as the Laws program here. She actually sits on our advisory board of the faculty, so is a real direct advocate and voice for the student experience, and you'll definitely meet her in your time here. Look out for her name at events or welcome things, and she'll be able to share some advice. For those of you who are interested in sort of the finance area and financial management part, look out for the student club later at the expo called the FMAA. It's one of the most powerful student clubs, and it was actually started by Paul Haymeister, the first photo. He was frustrated he couldn't be the president of the Commerce Student Society, so started his own club and still plays a really active role in that organisation. So you can meet Paul if you're interested in those areas. For those of you from Singapore, you might know of Ronnie Cheng. And for those of you who haven't watched his hilarious comedy about his first days as a commerce and law student here at Melbourne, look out for it. For those moments of stress, you might appreciate some clips from him. Sari roti. Anyone from Indonesia over here and know of sari roti bread? I normally get a few hands up in the room. So sari roti is a way of getting bread out to little villages and community all around Indonesia that they can sit on a shelf for a long time. And it was started by a very ambitious alumnus, Wendy Yap, back in her student days. The closest market lane coffee for all of you guys will be at Queen Vic Market, started by an alumna from here. So, be inspired by that journey. She was one of the first people to tell the story behind coffee. So if you're not a coffee addict already, Melbourne will probably make you one. And Hilan is based in San Fran and a chief operating officer for one of the world's largest domain registration companies, Namecheap. So the organizations you have connections to are endless, and not my job to tell you about them, but look out for those opportunities. And when you interface with a company, I would recommend you ask those people, did you study at the university just like I am? It might just be a nice little opening line. You might feel, I don't have anything to share with a CEO or COO, but the experience of sitting in a classroom like today is one that you can always rely on, and they'll be fascinated to hear about the types of things that you're doing now as a student, because they've had the same experiences as you. So you might think, okay, thanks, Rubina, alumni for me, that's 3 years from now. I don't need to think about it till then. But I encourage you to really utilize the ways that alumni are putting up their hands to help you. And a lot of that comes from the fact that they want to share with you advice. In my job, I interface with about 3,000 alumni a year. Not any one of them will tell me they don't want to help a student. So we've made some practical ways and programs where you can reach out to them. And I want to tell you about 2 things that hopefully you remember at the end of today and throughout this week. One is that we've created a bucket list for you. Alumni have said what they really loved about their time here, what they wish they had done before, what they just wish they could get back onto campus and do again. I take a lot of alumni on tours because they just miss the campus so much. Look out for that, that's online. If you take a photo of that screen, you'll see there's an actual current students part of our website, which gives you that. And if you go to the expo today, which you definitely should, and learn about all the clubs and societies, at the desk for student enrichment and employability, there'll actually be physical playing cards with those bucket list items and a checklist for you as well. So grab those. The second one, and the faculty has a very important and successful career mentoring program, is a program called Ask Alumni. We launched it last year. It's an online mentoring program, and it's based off something like a dating platform, where essentially you go in there, you tell us that you're studying Bachelor of Commerce, but you're actually really interested in music and fine arts, and you love to work in Singapore one day. We'll match you up with a few alumni with exactly that same profile, and you can reach out to as many of them as you like. So instead of needing to have a one-year relationship with somebody through a mentoring program, you can ask them quick 10-minute questions via Zoom, Skype, WeChat, or the phone. So utilize that opportunity when you get stuck. And remember that they're always going to be a part of your journey here. And I really hope you'll find that the true meaning of alumni community is what you experience, which is that it'll be nurturing and will support you along your way. So congratulations again, welcome to the BCom, and enjoy your time here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rubina. Now, let me see where we're up to. Okay. So, your first year in the BCom, we talked a lot, Paul giving you some really good advice about what it is to be a university student and how it can be quite different to high school, how we expect you to be proactive learners and to tell us when there's a problem that you would like some help with. But what actually happens in your first year in the classes, we've got some academic staff who will be here momentarily to talk to you about that, to give you a bit more of an insight on what you'll be doing in your first year compulsory subjects. Before we do that, I just wanted to quickly remind you of a whole lot of course planning resources that we've created for you so that you can plan your enrolment properly. So if you know that you want to major in economics and you know you want to also major in finance, you need to think about what subjects do you need to do in first and second year so that you can do the subjects that you want to do in third year. We've got the BCom Planner. It's an online resource, has lots of information around the way the degree is structured and the rules in the degree, and has some sample course plans that should make it pretty easy for you to understand how you structure your study. The University Handbook, that's that one down in the bottom with Bachelor of Commerce there. That's the kind of official rule guide of the university, and we expect you to read that and be aware of the way the degree is structured. We've made a whole lot of getting started videos, which I hope you've had a chance to look at. We actually used some current BCom students to explain some of the rules of the degree to you. So if you're still struggling with what exactly do we mean by the quantitative requirement of the degree, there's a really good one there that we put up in January that will explain to you how that works. We had some webinars in January. I'm not sure if anybody participated in those webinars, but we do that every year where we'll be sitting back in our offices madly trying to answer your quick questions as quickly as you post them. We've got a transcript of those sessions up on the website as well so that you can read what other students were thinking and asking about and what our responses were. And of course, there is Stop One, and that's the place where you can go for all your enrolment advice, to access a whole lot of support services. You don't have to go there in person. They do have online ways of communicating with them, chat, and they also have some really excellent frequently asked questions that oftentimes if you have a question, rather than going over there and waiting an hour or longer to see someone because it's really busy at this time of the year, if you check out those FAQs, you can often find an answer to what you might be wanting to know. Now, I'm assuming everybody in the room has enrolled, so I'm assuming also you're all familiar with the My Uni Melb student portal. This might be the first time you've had to kind of interact with a portal like this. It's where you can check your university email, and we do expect you to check your email at least twice a week. I would probably suggest in semester checking your email daily. University doesn't do mail-outs anymore. You won't get a letter in the post from us. We'll only communicate with you via email, and when you communicate or want to communicate with us, we expect you to do it from your student email account. The LMS might be the first time you've used something like the LMS. It's the Learning Management System. It's where you will access all of the material that you'll need in your subjects. So lecture notes, tutorial questions, there's a whole lot of stuff in there, and you should have access to the LMS sites for your semester 1 subjects already. And it's also the place where you can do a whole lot of things like viewing your results, seeing your exam timetable, that kind of thing. Okay, so now we're going to get into what do you study in the first year of the Bachelor of Commerce, and we're going to start with accounting, and I want to introduce Noel Boyes to you, who's going to talk about your compulsory accounting subject.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So, ARA, as it's affectionately known, is a core subject in the BCom, so all of you will be studying this subject at some point. For those of you who are undertaking an accounting major, this is the foundation subject that kicks off the whole accounting stream of subjects. A subject overview. By the end of this subject, it would be hoped that you would be able to take a set of financial statements, whether that be in the form of a GPFR, a general purpose financial report, typical of what you see in an annual report of a public company, or even just a set of financial statements from any organisation, a sporting club, a not-for-profit, a smaller business, and be able to take that information, have an understanding as to how that information got prepared and the information that it is telling you, how to use that information to assist decision-making. And in accounting, we refer to that as the external user perspective under the heading of something called financial accounting. Management accounting, on the other hand, is an internal user perspective. This is where people who are responsible for the day-to-day running of an organisation, the managers, would use accounting information to assist with their day-to-day decision-making to run the organisation. And we touch on a couple of management accounting topics in the course. And then we invite a guest speaker to come in and talk to you about a contemporary issue in accounting. And in the past, we've had subject matter experts come in and talk about sustainability, which is a really big growth area in accounting research at the moment, and an issue that the profession is really wrestling with as to how we need to report and account for sustainability issues. And in another instance, we had a guest speaker talking about a topic that's been in the news quite a bit lately on corporate governance. In terms of your time commitment, it's a pretty standard thing in first year subjects that you would have a 2-hour lecture and a 1-hour tutorial, so 3 contact hours in a week. Doesn't sound like much. The way the program would work is the 2-hour lecture would be where you are introduced to new content, new concepts, and then the tutorial program lags by a week so that in the following week's tutorial you would undertake some discussions, some class activities, some case studies whereby you apply the concepts that were introduced in the previous week's lecture. And of course, 3 contact hours, you think, well, that's going to be pretty good. I've got plenty of time for doing all the other stuff that uni has to offer, which is true. But a lot of times students ask, well, how much time should actually be spent in terms of study? It's a little bit like saying how long's a piece of string. The rule of thumb suggests that there should be around about a 2-to-1 ratio of non-contact time to the contact time. So if you've got 3 hours in class, then another 6 hours in out-of-class or preparation time. But of course, that's on average. And on average, if your head's in an oven and your feet are in a freezer, on average you're perfectly comfortable. There are going to be some weeks where you might not need to spend 6 hours. Then there'll be other weeks where you have to work a bit of overtime because of assignments and exam preparation and the like. But my advice would be that if you treated university like a 9-to-5 job, whereby you dedicated yourself Monday to Friday with your contact hours and getting all of your work, your preparation, your reading and everything done, you could have every evening off and every weekend off to do all those other things. If you could discipline yourself to make this a 9-to-5 job, you would succeed at university with a leg in the air. In terms of assessment, if you have been told, don't worry about tutorials, you don't need to go to tutorials, you don't have to go to tutorials, and you don't have to go to lectures, you don't have to sit the exam, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But it is an expectation that you would go to lectures and tutorials and sit the exam. And if you're looking for an incentive as to why tutorials are worth going to, it forms part of your assessment. So you are assessed on your tutorial participation, which includes the preparation and coming to the tutorials ready to engage in the activities. Now, of course, turning up to a tutorial does not guarantee participation, but research overwhelmingly shows that non-attendance at tutorials is non-participation. So, 10% of your mark taken up with tutorials. We also have 2 assignments, one of them fairly early in the semester, another one later in the semester. The first is an individual assignment, the second is a group assignment. So one of your early assignments or missions in your tutorials would be to have quickly look around and see who you think you might work well with in a group, because you'll be completing 10% of your assessment with 2 or 3 other people within your tutorial. And then we have an end of semester exam, a closed book exam, which accounts for 70% of your assessment. But you'll often see this phrase, a hurdle requirement. If you're not sure what a hurdle requirement is, if we look at the breakdown of the assessment there, let's say you got 10 out of 10 for those first 3 pieces of assessment, which means you go into the exam with 30 out of 30. If you got 20 out of 70 on the exam, that would add up to a total of 50 for the subject. But 20 out of 70 would not satisfy the exam hurdle, so you would not be eligible to pass the subject. So this is not unlike your secondary studies, where VCE, for instance, your exam performance went a long way to determining your result in a subject, and in VCE, the same applies here. You must satisfy the exam hurdle to satisfy the subject. A couple of comments about accounting. In fact, maybe this is the heading under what accounting is not. Accounting is not just putting numbers in boxes. If you're expecting to come in here and just be putting numbers into things called ledger accounts and journals, whatever they are, that is not what this subject is about. There is some putting numbers in boxes, but that's not pure accounting. That's actually bookkeeping. Bookkeeping, which is the only word in the English language with 3 consecutive double letters. Not everything in accounting is black and white. There are some things in accounting that are black and white, but there are a lot of things that are not. There are a lot of grey areas in accounting, so get used to ambiguity. A lot of accounting relies on estimations, choices and judgments, and we can never say that they are black and white. Boring! Boring! Ball bearings spinning on frictionless surfaces emitting energy at dy dx in specialist maths. That's boring! A recent study showed that accounting was in the top 5 things you can do from a seated position. Now, accountants might be boring, but accounting is not boring. Good luck with your studies. Welcome to Melbourne Uni. Hopefully I'll see you in a lecture sometime.
Thank you, Noel. Okay, moving right along, we're moving into the area of microeconomics. Can I introduce Tom Wilkening?
Top act to follow, Tom. Oh, that's pretty good.
That's all right, thanks everybody. My name is Tom Wilkening. I'm one of the 2 lecturers who's teaching microeconomics this year. What is microeconomics? Well, microeconomics starts with 2 assumptions. The first assumption is that we have roughly unlimited wants, right? Now that assumption seems a little bit strange, but if you start thinking about it a little bit, you can always find something that you would like a little more. I spend most of my time hanging out in my office. I don't have a lot of wants in terms of the material things I need, but on the other hand, I have a family, so I care about them. I also care about the people in my community. I care about Australia. I care about the world. Each one of those is another step of things that are actually going to have allocation of resources. The second assumption is that those resources are scarce. We only have a finite number of things that we can do as a planet, and so somehow we have to allocate them. Right? So economics is really about the way that we coordinate and make decisions. Right? At an individual level, it's how do we make a decision? How do we make good decisions that's going to do the best for us? The group level, it's how do we coordinate things, and how does that all aggregate up into an economy? Right? So completing this course, you're going to have an understanding of how the economy operates, but probably more important, you're going to have a way of thinking about how to make good decisions in your day-to-day life, both in terms of how you budget your time and how you make decisions in terms of your money. All right. The course is structured roughly the same as most of the courses that you're going to see this year. So we're going to have 2 lectures and 1 tutorial. The lectures are going to be something like this, where I'm going to stand in front and talk to you. Tutorials are much more group-based, so they're going to be much smaller groups. There's going to be 20 individuals to one tutor. Those are really important to go to, right? For two reasons. The first is this is a place where you're going to get much more one-on-one time. It's going to be much easier for you to ask questions. The second is the place where you actually get to meet other people in the university. Right? So one of the most important things in coming to university is to meet a lot of really amazing people who are all in the same room as you. Right? The tutorials are a place to do that. That's how you're going to form your study groups. That's how you're going to find your friends. It's one of the most important things you can be doing in the first year that you come to your studies. Right? Your tutorials are structured in two parts. So there's going to be a pre-tutorial. This year we've essentially loaded them onto smartphones, so you can do your pre-tutorial questions while riding the tram into work. And then in the tutorial itself, you're going to have a second set of questions that you're going to be able to do as groups and sort of talk to each other and try to figure things out, learn from each other as you go along. Right. Time commitment for this class is going to be 5 to 6 hours of outside work plus the 3 hours inside work. This is roughly the way that all the courses you're going to see in university work. The number of contact hours outside of time is roughly 2 to 1 for the number of contact hours inside. Right? So those 5 and 6 hours outside, you should be reading the book, you should be doing the pre-tutorials, you should be doing the case studies, making sure that you're prepared every time that you come into lecture. All right, our assignments. There's a multiple choice class test that starts in, I think, week 3. So this is going to be just a quick test to make sure people are on track. Our first assignment is a relatively short assignment, which looks like problem sets, things you've probably done before. Our second assignment is a case study where you're going to apply the things that you learn in the class to problems of your choice. Right. We have a 10% tutorial participation in attendance. This is just like the other classes. Part of that is to make sure you've done your pre-tutorial. Those will be checked that you've done it when you walk into class for each of your tutorials. All right. Final exam is 60%. Again, we have this hurdle requirement. Our tests are set up in a way that if you've done the work, you'll be successful on the tests, but you have to do the work to get there. And those hurdle requirements trip a lot of people up each year. So make sure you're studying the entire year through, and you make sure that you're doing well when you get to the tests themselves. Right. If I could give one piece of advice, lots of people, when they come into university, they find that freedom distracting to the point where they stop going to classes and they think they can do everything by doing the lecture captures online. Right? That turns out to be a big mess because people start to delay actually doing their work till the last minute, and then they find out there's way too much work to actually be able to do that. Right? So the number one thing that I would say that determines whether people are successful or not is that they come to all their tutorials, they come to all their classes, they use the lecture capture as a backup. So for instance, I talk very quickly, so if you're in my course and I'm talking too quick, you have a second way of actually looking at it, but don't try to use that as your primary resource. You're going to run into troubles as you go along. Okay. That's it for me. Good luck this year, and I'll see you in another week.
Thank you, Tom. And now I'm going to introduce Dr. Lawrence Uren, who will be talking about macroeconomics.
So my name's Lawrence Uren. I'll be one of the lecturers in charge of introductory macroeconomics in semester 2 of this year, in addition to Nahid Khan. And macroeconomics is going to be different from microeconomics in the sense that microeconomics is often studying individual behavior. So it would often be studying the behavior of consumers or households in society, how they purchase goods and services or how they allocate their time, or the behavior of individual firms, how do they decide how much to produce. In macroeconomics, what we're going to do is we're going to study the aggregate behavior of the economy over time. So we'll be thinking about not just individuals, but thinking about the economy as a whole. And that's going to lead to a whole interesting set of questions that are new and different from introductory microeconomics. To give you an idea of some of those questions, what the course will do is it will start talking about measuring the economy. So if we want to understand social science like economics, we have to have some way of measuring what's the state of the economy and how the economy is performing over time. So a section of the course will be talking about measuring the economy, things like GDP and inflation. The second component of the course will be talking about business cycles. So what we know is that over time, what tends to happen is unemployment will rise at certain periods of time, and then it will decline at certain periods of time. So a good example of that was during the Great Recession in the United States. What we saw is that unemployment went to over 10%, and now it's fallen down to about 4 to 5% in the United States. So that's a 6% change on a labour force, which is approximately 100 million. So you're looking at about 6 million people who are 6 million more people unemployed at the top of the recession than at the bottom of the recession. So that's kind of large welfare costs associated with that. And what we're going to do in this course is we're going to spend some time thinking about business cycles and why there are these changes in unemployment over time and what that means for people's welfare. The third component of the course is going to be talking about economic growth, and that will be discussing issues as to why some countries are rich and other countries are poor. So if you think about what are some of the most important social questions that face the world today, it'll be this kind of disparity between rich and poor in different parts of the world. So we'll talk about what economists can contribute to understanding that. And the final topic that we'll cover in this course is going to be a topic that's related to international macroeconomics, and that's going to be understanding how the rest of the world has an impact upon a domestic economy. So in this case, we'll be focusing on Australia, but it's going to be quite a general theory, and we'll talk about how changes in the rest of the world have an impact upon the Australian economy. So that's kind of the focus of introductory macroeconomics. And our real goal is to help you understand how the world operates. So if you wake up in the morning and read a newspaper or go online and read the news, you'll have some idea as to what are the economic affairs of the world that are going on at a particular point in time, and you'll have some understanding as to why those are occurring. In terms of the administrative issues associated with this course, it's very similar to introductory microeconomics. There are going to be 2 lectures per week, as well as an additional tutorial. That tutorial is going to start in the second week of semester. And in terms of assessment, it's provided here. So there are different components. So there's some online quizzes that you're able to take via the learning management system. So you'll be able to take them via the internet. There's some group assignments that will be written problem set style questions. And there's a 2-hour final exam, and the important thing to note is that final exam is going to be something that you have to pass in order to pass the course. And the final piece of assessment is tutorial attendance and participation. So tutorials are an important part of the course where you're going to have the ability to interact with someone who knows a lot about economics in a small group forum, and they'll guide you through understanding the course material in a deeper way. In terms of time content, what the handbook recommends for this course is about 170 hours throughout the semester, so I'd recommend about 10 hours during 10 to 12 hours during each week of the semester, plus an extra time to study for the final exam towards the end of semester. So that's kind of the structure of the course. Nahid and I are looking forward to teaching that course. Most of you will be taking it in second semester, so what I'd like to do is wish you luck in the first semester, and I hope to see you in second semester. Now, before I end, I should reiterate that many people have said this, but one of the most important things about economics, I think, is that the material is not particularly difficult, but it's all cumulative. So if you start to fall behind early on in the semester, it can then become very difficult. So my advice to students studying economics at the university would be to try and maintain, keep up with the material so you don't fall behind, because if you fall behind, it can be very difficult to catch up in the last few weeks of semester. So that's all I have to say. So again, I'd like to wish you good luck in your first semester, and I hope to see you in semester 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence. Now we're going to move into your next subject, compulsory subject. It's called Quantitative Methods 1, and if you're doing the standard quantitative pathway, this will be one of your compulsory subjects. So can I introduce John Shannon to talk to you about that subject?
Well, thank you very much. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I lecture because I love it. And things do change over time. When I was going to school, well, it wasn't exactly like Hunger Games, but and they didn't have straps. I'm sorry, they didn't have
chains and whips, but they did have straps and canes, and in those days schools actually used to encourage bullying. Universities weren't that much different. I remember in the first lecture, they'd always ask you to look to the right, look to the left, and one of you will fail. Right? Now, things are very different today, and my attitude, of course, is very different. I do ask you to look around carefully during this orientation week, because there are things you really need to notice. And the first is that to be at Melbourne, all of you have to have been very bright people. Now, you're used to being the bright person in the room. The only problem is that everyone else is used to being the bright person in the room. And you're no longer different. Everyone else here is very bright. It's a great opportunity, but you have to adapt to that. The second thing is the size of the class. And a lot of people don't understand how this radically changes the dynamics that you're used to. You're used to preparing to get here. Now you're here, right? You're used to working very hard with other very interested people to get to Melbourne Uni. Now you're one of 1,500 students in the class. Now, I'm not trying to be depressing, I'm just saying you have to think about it and you have to change. Now, everyone in this class, I think, is capable of getting a H1. Why is it that some people get H1s and others fail? Not a lot fail, but some fail. There are two things to remember. The first thing to remember is the choices you make, and that centres on two things: being prepared, looking at the lectures before the lectures, preparing the tutes, and being consistent. This subject is sequential. Everything we do, say in week 5 and week 6, depends upon what we've done in week 3 or week 4. So you must be consistent if you want to do well. Now, the second thing is attitude. Attitude is what helps us to act well. And the key thing here is to enjoy, if not enjoy, have a positive attitude to what you're doing. Now, this subject is not a maths subject. This subject is much more about management, about understanding how to use quantitative techniques to understand situations that will help you to solve business problems. And of course, there are things that I can't do in the lecture or I've done in the tute that you should be thinking about. Now, one of these has to do with communication. There's no point in having, brilliant knowledge if you can't communicate with other people. And these are the sort of things you should be thinking about in your tutes and that. Now, the other thing is that when we get you to do calculations, we get you to use Excel. And this is where you've got to break out of that mindset you may have had at school of learning to keep teachers happy, right? When you look at Excel and you start using it, it shouldn't be a matter of simply solving the tute problems. You should be thinking about how you can use things in your future career. Why do I say that? Well, look, unless your family owns the business, most of you won't become a CEO straight away. And most jobs that you'll go into, right, one of the things you'll have to do is work with Excel. And I can guarantee you this, that any time you spend developing superior Excel skills will be rewarded. Because it's an easy way to impress old people. Not as old as me, because they can't use it as well as you will be able to. So what I'm saying is that you've been given, through a combination of hard work and good luck, you've been given an amazing opportunity to be part of this course, right? And instead of just sitting around waiting for the lecturer or the tutor to tell you what to do, you should be taking control. You should be thinking about how you can make the most of this opportunity. Now look, only 1% of you will work as quantitative analysts. But the other 99% will have to survive in a world where it's assumed that you know about these things, right? So please keep that in mind. Now, the final thought I had was some advice that I can't really spell out here. When people come to Australia, they're fascinated by our attitude to criminals, because one of our major heroes was a bushranger who shot policemen. He wasn't a hero with the policeman's family, but Ned Kelly is probably the best known, one of the best known Australian heroes. When it comes to publishing, Melbourne University Press, for example, has published the stories of different criminals, and they use that to cross-subsidise their academic publications. Now, one of those criminals was called Chopper Read, and I'm not saying you've got to go and look at Chopper Read. I mention it because I know that a lot of you will be like my grandson, who wastes countless hours looking at YouTube, right? So if you're one of those people who wastes countless hours looking at YouTube, you should check out what Chopper Read had to say. Because Chopper wrote a book. He's no longer with us. He's gone to that great maximum security prison in the sky, I suppose. And he made a series of personal and business videos, right? And he went through a range of problems, and Chopper always had the one solution, right? It was a variation on something you've heard of countless times, the need for resilience. So I'm not saying you have to go and look up Chopper, but if you are wasting your life on YouTube, you'll find it quite entertaining. So, once again, I wish you the very best. Make sure that you understand how lucky you are, and make sure that you make the most of your opportunities. So I'll see you all next week, or some of you anyway. Good.
Okay. That's what John just spoke about. Okay, I'm going to introduce Howard Chan to talk to you about principles of finance.
Hi. My name's Howard Chan. I'll be taking this subject for second semester, associate professor. Ashley Family will take it for first semester. So obviously you've heard everyone trying to sell their subject. I'll explain to you. Well, I'm going to say to you, after you do all that, and that's fine, we come to the point here of the commercial world, right? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to invest in a project? Are you going to make certain investments? So the next slide, this is what we cover in general, what we cover in this subject. The first thing, we talk about the foundation of finance. We have to talk about financial maths, about cash flows, about risk, about returns, So that's fundamental to all finance. Then the other thing we cover is corporate finance, which is, in general, from the company's viewpoint, what do they do? Okay, we've got all this information. Essentially, do we make an investment? Okay, should we go ahead with mine, for example, the BHP? Okay, and then we have returns from that. What do we do about it? How do we pay it? Okay. How should we structure the financing for it? Okay, so that's essentially corporate finance from the company's viewpoint. And then we have investment, which is basically from the investor's viewpoint. Okay, if you've got money, if you're a fund manager, I'm just going to quickly let you have a look at this. It's all going to be in your handbook, whatever. It basically repeats what I had on the prior slide, but in a lot more detail. Okay. So just have a quick look at that, and then I'll flick it on to the next slide. Okay. Just before I get to this, for example, one of the things we do in the unit is we talk about PE ratios. And one of the things I covered in class was the Schiller price earnings ratio. And I showed to students last year that the Schiller price earnings ratio was at a 100-year. In the top 400-year high relative to the S&P 500. It's normally about 15, and at that time last year, back in September, October, it was hitting like 34. Okay, and there's only been 2 times it's been above that. Once during the 2000.com drop, okay, and the other time during the 1997. So there was a bit of chatter. Students obviously asked me when the market's going to fall. Okay, and I said, well, normally they mean revert, okay, to the long-term average. Unfortunately for me, some of the students came back and said, Professor, you were right. At least back in November and December, it dropped dramatically. Okay, so this is one of the things. Some administrative stuff, you've heard all this before, okay? I'm sure you've all about it. Okay, but so I'm not going to say too much more. So I would recommend, on average, 3 contact hours for each hour of contact. Okay. Students generally find this subject a little bit harder. Okay. There is those who are better at maths do find it a lot easier. Okay. And again, it's an average. So, for example, if you're super good at quant, you might less. If you're not so good at it, you might have to take a bit more time. I know we're running a little bit behind schedule, so previous speakers have said you need to take the initiative. You're at university, no one's going to look over your shoulder. Okay? You have to take it from here. Okay? Pre-lectures, the lecture slides I provided to you a week earlier. I would recommend you just have a little bit of a look at it, rather than just going straight into the lecture cold. You should attend lectures and take notes from it. And if you do have any problems, you should try to address it as soon as possible. Okay? Because else, the other speakers have said the problems build up. I've seen a lot of students who said, okay, especially if you live in a residential college, I've been there, okay? First 6 weeks is hard, okay? And then I'm going to try to catch up later on, okay? You'll find it extremely hard, okay? Unless you've got 99.9, right, you're going to find it really hard. You may just pass, but you're not going to get it. And if some of you are considering interns, trying to get into investment banking, whatever, that's going to put a big dent in any aspirations you have. Okay. You need to prepare your tutorials beforehand and participate in it, and you need to hand in your tutorial work because there are marks attached to it. So there's 4 assessments there. There's an online assignment, 10% tutorial participation, roughly 1% per week. So it's not just handing in your work, you don't participate. There's a mid-semester multiple choice exam, roughly around week 7 and 8. That's worth 20%. And you've got 6% exam. Okay? Again, which is a hurdle. Okay. Last slide, again, you just need to be diligent. We have found if you fall behind, okay, everything's cumulative, you're going to really, really struggle with something. Okay. So I remember what the others have said, do it like a 9 to 5 thing. You still got the weeknight, you still got the weekend, students fail. That part, they really struggle, really get on top of it. Senior tutors, there's a lot of resources, come and see me. Okay? If you take this in second semester, I'll tell you to see me. But I say that every year, but I reckon I saw 5 students. Until the assessment, the week of the assessment, when there was like 30 people in my room. Okay, so if you do have problems, see me early, you get all by myself. You got your problems, sort it out with me. Okay, that's all I want to say. I'll see you later, best of luck.
Okay. All right, moving right along. So you would have picked up some pretty consistent messaging then from the teaching staff about going to class regularly, doing work consistently throughout the semester and seeking advice from teaching staff if you're unsure about something. All your tutors will have consultation hours. You'll be able to read what they are in the subject guides that are available on the LMS. Make use of those. If there's something that you don't understand, go and see your tutor or talk to the subject coordinator like Howard and make things clearer for yourself so that when you get to the end of semester, you're not struggling to understand a concept that was delivered in week 2 or 3. Okay. It's not Ben, but it's Bernard from the library. Welcome, Bernard.
Hello everyone, I'm not Ben, I'm Bernard, but we're both sort of older, grey and bald, so similar sort of thing. I can do a good Ben impersonation if I have to. I'm the library manager for FPE, so I'm just going to be talking about 10 quick things that the library will help you out with in your studies in the BCom. So there's 11 libraries on campus. We're the main library to deal with, business economics. So you mainly should be dealing with us and coming to our library. Don't find yourself over in Brownless. There won't be much there that will interest you. We have extended hours. So after about 8 o'clock, we sort of shuffle everyone out. We sort of lock the books down, and then we let everyone back in, and we're open till 1 a.m. in the morning. So you can come and sit there and use it till 1 a.m. Very popular place for people to go and sit and study rather than be at home where there might be distractions and things. That website there, library.unimelb.edu.au, that's the main library website. So you can go there and find things like Discovery, which is that big search field up the top, which is a bit like Google. You can run searches on articles and databases and books and things like that. So you can run those searches on that field up there. The subject research guides, they're guides full of information on particular areas of study within FBE. So there'll be one subject guide for marketing, one for leadership, one for finance, economics, etc. You can go and use them and see all the commercial and free resources that will help you with your research. And lastly, the catalogue, which is really good for looking for prescribed texts and recommended texts for your subjects. You can go and get those. We make sure we have lots of those available so you can get them from the library and find them with the catalogue. We have lots of different study spaces in the library. So there's seats and project rooms where you can go and study with a group of people if you like. You can book the project rooms. You can see there on the bottom left. You can go there and hook up your computer and use the big monitor to work on group documents. So you can book those. You can also book computers if you've left your laptop at home. Through that, book it at .unimelb.edu.au address. If you want to photocopy something, you can use the multifunction devices. So you go there, 11 cents a copy, but you can also scan from books for free to a USB drive if you need to do that or you want to save some money. Now, apart from librarians in the library, we also have student IT, and they deal with students' computer problems. So bring your laptop along. If you've got a desktop, don't bring that. That would be awkward. Bring your laptop along. We can help you out with that. Wireless connection, printing and scanning, booking PCs and rooms, whatever you need. We've got people there to help you out with that as well. As well as that, we have the chat service. So if you go to the library website, there's a chat box there. You can go and type in queries, and we have someone sitting on that all the time, waiting to respond to you immediately. So you can do that from home or from your phone, wherever you are on the tram, whatever you want. We can answer quick questions with the chat service. Or, of course, old-fashioned 1950s in-person technology with an actual human being. So you can come and talk to a librarian at the service desk at the front of the Gimlin Unison, and we'll try and help you out with anything we can. And lastly, we have library tours between at 11 and 2 o'clock every day during week 1. We'll take you around through the library in groups and show you all the aspects of the library. So that's it with the library. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. What's up next? Okay. Hopefully we have Jacinta here from Stop 1, who I think is outside the door. Jacinta, welcome.
Hi everyone, welcome. So I'm just going to have a quick chat to you about what we do at Stop 1 and how we do connect you guys with the services available for you at the university, okay? So the student services that you have, you can contact us online. You can come and visit us in person, or you can give us a call. We're available on live chat. You can also use the resources that are available to you on the students' website and at ask.unimelb. So most of your frequently asked questions at a base level will be resolved by looking them up there. And hopefully you've already had a bit of a look. So you can visit us Monday to Friday, and we're also open Saturday this week. Our hours do change, so please get familiar with the website there when you are coming in, because we don't want you to turn up and find that the door is closed and opening at 10, or that you're coming in, you're not able to come in, but we're actually open till 6 one day and you could have made it through. So check our hours when you're coming through, and yeah, pay us a visit. So our locations at the moment is a little bit tricky because there's a lot of building work going on. And basically we're at the law building now, but you want to walk over the big building site and over to the corner of Swanston and Grattan Street. If any of you are on the other side of town and you don't happen to have classes on, but you do really need to speak to someone, the South Bank Hub is also servicing you as well. So you can drop in there if you're not coming in, or you've got some Brett subjects and you want to catch up with someone, you're welcome to use the South Bank Hub as well. So we offer a range of services. We do administrative and information services, enrolment services, skills and development services, and support services. A lot of these can be made by booking, and a lot of it is information, a lot of it is administrative assistance. So you can have a drop-in appointment and have a chat to us about all of these services, or you can actually make a booking online for some of them. So for example, if you want to speak to a course planner, you can book your appointment online. If you need some help, if you're an elite athlete, or if you want to put in an academic adjustment program, then you can make an appointment with a student equity and disability advisor. If you want some academic skills one-on-one appointments, then you can make an appointment with academic skills, and so on. So when can I visit Stop 1? Can anybody have a look for me? If you've got your phones, first hand up, tell me what our hours are today. Bit of activity. We're nearly done. There is a coffee in it if you've got the first hand up. That's on there. Today? What's Thursday? 9 to 6. So the hours will change. Please look them up when you're there. We also have a lot of workshops and sessions running. At the moment, we've got a timetabling lab. If you haven't familiarised yourself with that already and you do need some help working that out, do come visit us there. There's also a lot of workshops for wellbeing, a lot of workshops for careers, a lot of workshops for academic skills. So if you do get familiar with the workshops and sessions as well, it's going to help you get through your academic year. If you do want to make an appointment, have you all logged in and seen your my.unimelb? Yep. Okay. So if you want to make an appointment, you book an advisor online there. You can have a look at all the different types of appointments that are available through by clicking that, book an advisor, or through the Stop One website, okay? We've also got some timetabling links here. I don't know if you've had a look at these, but we've got, when you're looking at your streams, if you've got your, the study period that you want to have a look at. So if you're getting a little bit lost in all of that, come and visit us at the timetabling lab, or have a look at some of these links here. Short links go.uni-melbourne. You can just note down those last 4 numbers and letters for registration, step-by-step troubleshooting, and the inquiry management form. If you haven't had to use that yet, it's pretty helpful, just to give you an idea of where you're sitting there. So the administrative and information drop-ins, if you just want to come have a chat to us about what services we have, we can talk to you about special consideration. We can talk to you about your fees. That's domestic and international students. If you want to know about the help loan, if you want to know about a dual instalment, all that sort of stuff to do with your fees. If you've never used BPay, we can talk you through all of those things, okay? You want to talk about your student visa and what the work rights are with that, and how to renew or extend your student visa, you can come and have a chat with us. If you want to talk about your results, if you want to get any academic statements or transcripts, if you need troubleshooting in general with any of our websites, our forms, anything, we are here to help you with all of that, okay? So please do come and visit us and have a chat if you do need any of these services. We also have a Safer Community program. So if you haven't already done so, has anyone had a look already at the Safer Community app? Nope. Have a look if you have a look at the UniMelb apps, we've got a Safer Community app. It's very useful for you, particularly if you're studying late at night, you feel a little bit uncomfortable crossing campus. You can actually contact security and have a security escort from here to the tram. What's funny about that? The word? Okay. So they will take you across to the tram or to your car if you're parked nearby. So you can also have a look at how to at all of the at everything that we have available through the Safer Community app, as well as other apps like Lost on Campus, and the further app is SnapSend Solve. And there's probably a bunch more, but SnapSend Solve will actually help you out if you're locked somewhere or lift is not working. Take a photo, send it through, and someone from our infrastructure services team will come and help you out, hopefully pretty quickly if you're in a lift. But the same if you find something that is a little bit dangerous or sticking out or in the way, SnapSend Solve that one. Lost on Campus, obviously, to find the David Durham Theatre or other theatres, and the Safer Campus is very, very useful for your well-being. Our Safer Community program will also help you out if you need to talk about housing, financial aid and planning, the Safer Community program, international student support, okay? So please do use these services if you need them. Your study can be impacted by so many things outside of the university. We really want your academic year and life cycle to be as smooth flowing as it can be. So know that the services are there for you and use them. They're free. They're very, very useful. We definitely care about how you're travelling whilst you're here and beyond, okay? The Student Equity and Disability Support Program, they can offer you alternative formats for written materials, alternative exam arrangements, support workers like note takers, some specialist equipment, assistive technology, accessible teaching spaces. So the way you do that is you make an appointment with the team and you bring in some documentation and you talk about what your needs are, and they will work out an academic adjustment plan for you. So if anybody is in need of that, please make that appointment as soon as you can. And even if this happens midway through your degree, do definitely make that appointment and have that discussion so that you can actually have those adjustments made, okay? If you're not sure, come and have a chat. Just drop in, come and see us. International student services. So understanding your student visa and knowing your work rights, and now many of you, well, you have to have your OSHC if you've got a student visa, so you can get to know about our health and wellbeing services. That's not just international students, that's all of our students. We do have a university health clinic. We've also got the counselling and psychological services. The health clinic is on Cardigan Street. It's probably about less than a 10-minute walk from here. And the counselling and psychological services are on level 5 of the Stop 1 building. So you can come and use them as well. There's also a number of other services available for, you know, dental, hearing, or your vision tests, all that sort of stuff. So keep your eye out for all of those things. You can also collect your OSHC card if you ordered it through the university in the Stop 1 building at the moment. So we also know you can, where you can go to check out some clubs and societies, communities through the Student Union, so University of Melbourne Student Union, UNSU, and we can help you with interpreting your tuition fees and using BPay, as I said earlier. We've also got an international student services page here that really will help you out with your experience whilst you're here. We understand that transitioning to a new country whilst studying and speaking sometimes another language is actually quite daunting. So, and a lot of us have had a similar experience, so we're definitely here to work with you on that, okay? Experiential learning, so there are careers drop-in sessions. There's a new careers hub as well, so do come and visit that, check it out, see what's going on there. That's on the ground floor in the Stop 1 building. The Students at Work program, for any of you who do want a little bit of side work whilst you're studying, I cannot recommend that enough. It is wonderful. Many of my colleagues belong to that program, and it's been a great experience for them. So faculty internships and opportunities, Student Connect, peer mentoring, study abroad and exchange are all part of our experiential learning at the university whilst you're enrolled, okay? So there's so many things to look out for there, and yeah, all you need to do is jump online or come and have a chat with us if you want to know a little bit more about it. The academic skills, this is our last thing. I cannot recommend this one enough. There is actually also a community on the learning management system. Has everybody already logged into the learning management system? Yes? Have you had a look? Has anyone had a look at the academic skills community? Not yet? No one? Okay. It is so worth your while, and it is also worth your while to jump in on the workshops, and obviously if you need to make that one-on-one appointment, they will help you out with note-taking and reading, time management, revision, exam preparation, class participation, the LMS and e-learning tools. They can help you out with your communication skills. If you haven't already done the DELA, is anyone registered to do the DELA or has already done it? No? No one? Usually our international students are invited to do this. No one? Unbelievable. Okay, jump online because they're still running, okay? The writing skills and your writing skills and giving presentations, research skills as well. So library research. Oops, that says tolls. That's a little bit of a misspell there, sorry. Referencing tools and research ethics and integrity, okay? So do jump online there and have a look at all of them. And lastly, happy orientation. So this is, today, your Bachelor of Commerce orientation. Also today, if you haven't already found out, the UMSU Student Union Carnival Day is on the South Lawn. That means loads of free food. The Clubs and Societies Day, also tomorrow and the day after. And there's a bunch of other sessions. If you haven't had a look, financial aid, health services, housing and safety, they're all running from the Harold White Theatre, and various other locations across campus. Please do check out everything that's available for you because it's going to make your life here wonderful and much easier. Thank you.
Okay, I know everyone's getting restless. It's a long lecture, but wait till you get to those 2-hour accounting lectures. This is nothing compared to that. Now, the last person I'm going to introduce you to is a current BCom student, and she's going to talk about some of the employability and enrichment opportunities available and some of her experiences in the BCom. So please welcome Alicia.
Okay, thank you everyone. So hi, my name is Alicia and I'm a final year BCom student majoring in economics and finance and also completing a diploma of languages. So I will try to keep it brief because I'm sure you're all quite keen to get out there and meet lots of new people. But I suppose firstly, just don't be nervous. I remember sitting in your shoes and being really nervous about university, not knowing who I'd meet. But I can assure you after 3 years, this is a really awesome place to be and probably much more exciting than full-time work. So really make the most of it while you're here. So as a BCom student, you will have access to a wide range of programs and events, including mentoring programs and internships, work-integrated learning subjects, skills workshops, competitions, and clubs and societies. So you'll have numerous opportunities to engage with potential future employers, and I can attest that you should definitely make the effort to attend careers panels, events, networking events, because you will definitely widen your view on perhaps what you may want to pursue in the future after graduating. And a lot of our industry partners, there's so many, they include JP Morgan, L'Oreal, EY, KPMG, PwC. No matter what you're interested in, there definitely is someone or some firm that the university will have connections with, so I encourage you to make the most of those opportunities. We also have two really exciting work-integrated learning subjects, management consulting, which is based in Melbourne over 1 semester, and global management consulting, where you can travel to Hong Kong, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, Shanghai, Singapore, Santiago, San Francisco, and Berlin, and you'll get to work with a real business and client working on a real-life business problem that they are facing in their organisation. So this is really practical experience that is definitely valued by employers and will let you put your skills that you learn in your classroom to the test. So I definitely encourage you to get involved with those. And last but certainly not least, you'll be able to make friends, build your networks, and develop key employability skills through skills workshops, case competitions, and faculty-affiliated student clubs and societies. Participating in case competitions is a great way to improve and showcase your presentation and analytical skills through the delivery of a business solution to a case and a real-life business problem, or pitching a winning entrepreneurship idea. So you can build and deepen your understanding of case studies and analyses through a business case analysis subject, which you can undertake in your second year. And this provides a really great segue into international case competitions where you can travel all over the world to compete with other business schools. So I definitely encourage you to look into that if you're interested. In the student employability program, you'll be able to attend free workshops and seminars curated to enhance and develop your employability skills. The focus of recent workshops has included presentation skills, networking, and critical thinking. And faculty also proudly supports student clubs and societies. There is 15 faculty-affiliated ones, which you will have the opportunity to meet later today at the Lunch Expo. And I really encourage you to get out there and, consider joining a committee of one, or really just attending the events, because I've definitely made lots of friends that in my first day, I remember at these sort of events, meeting people at student clubs. So definitely get involved there. So moving on to my own personal experience, first I want to caveat this by saying that you guys probably have different interests to myself and to each other, so there really is no one cookie cutter BCom experience, but it will be what you make of it, and you'll get out of it as much as you put in. So I encourage you to make the effort to take up any opportunity that presents itself to you. Career-wise, I have been lucky enough to undertake 2 internships, both of which have helped me have really great clarity about what I want to pursue next year after I've graduated. But what helped me know what sort of firms I wanted to apply to, what industries I was interested in, was really the events provided by the faculty and student clubs. So attend the careers panels, participate in the careers mentoring program. I did that and was paired up with someone in my field of interest. And since meeting him and discussing his experiences, I've decided to pursue a career in that industry as well. So, and really just get out there and talk to anyone, whether that be an older student, a member of the faculty, representatives at any event, alumni. People really do want to help you, but you do have to make the effort to go out there and seek them out. In terms of extracurricular activities, my strongest involvement has been with the case competition program, through which I have achieved my initial goals of developing a wide network of ambitious people. I've met awesome people through it, both